I'm off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Welcome to Peep Game TV and Keeping a Real Team Collaborations. I'm your man Shadi, aka SRD, with my man Jay Sean, aka Mr. F Love.
Good evening.
We
Good
here
evening.
tonight.
Good evening.
We here tonight on this Friday night, March 7th.
Yes. Yes.
For me, it's Ramadan. Just broke fast.
Oh.
So not too long ago. And the Ramadan is basically about building up your resistance to certain things. We all have to eat. So when you don't eat and drink, you building up your resistance and you building up your self-discipline so that you can be able to, and you also do it for the benefit of connecting with your higher power.
I was getting ready to tell you. Could you explain to the listeners who don't really know um the whole concept of Ramadan? But you already doing it. But you know.
Yeah. That's the whole concept of it. You doing this so that and it's also during Ramadan, all your sins are forgiven. You
Oh
forget
yeah.
all your sins, so you get to start new
Mm.
during Ramadan. So whatever sin you committed last year, last month, during your fasting, the sins are forgiven. So you start on a fresh slate.
Oh wow.
This is what Ramadan is about. It's normally 30 days. It starts. You eat before the sun comes up, and you eat after the sun goes down, and you refrain from other things that you may have a habit with. Being it because you're already fasting, you're not eating or drinking, so you may have a habit of cursing. You may
Mm.
have a habit of eating sweets. You may have a habit of drinking alcohol. Whatever your habit is, you get the chance to refrain from that for 30 days, which gives you self discipline. And we all need self discipline. We all need self control in order to be able to maneuver in this life because there's a lot of temptations that we face each and every day. So by being able to restrain from your necessity, which is your food and drink, it gives you the ability to refrain or to restrain yourself from other things that you don't need.
Um.
So go ahead.
I got a question. So you can eat now
Yeah,
because the
yeah,
sun is
because the
down.
sun is down. So I can eat, yeah, I can eat now.
You can eat as much as you want for as long as you want.
Right, until the sun comes up tomorrow. Before the sun comes up, that's when I fast again. Then when the sun goes down, I eat.
Okay. Can anybody do Ramadan?
Sure, sure. I mean, you can, and the other benefits is that you give your body a break. You know what I'm saying? You give your body a break from, eating. We eat a lot during the day, and we don't digest everything that we eat. So your body gets the chance to digest some of the stuff that you eat. A lot of times people get sick from toxins that remains in their body from foods that haven't yet digested or
Me,
dissolved.
me.
So it's also healthy to do it. you know
Yeah. Um. Is it hard getting used to doing that?
I mean, it's easier in the winter time because the winter it gets darker quicker.
Mm.
So it's much easier during that time because it get dark. Now in the summer, it's more difficult because it stays daylight longer.
Oh.
So not only that, you have the heat as well.
Oh. Wow.
And I've done it for at least 20 years.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? At least 20 years I fast during Ramadan, you know.
Have you ever? Um. So what's the actual dates of Ramadan?
Well, it goes according to when the moon comes up. It's an annual cycle that comes, once a year on a certain time of the month. And during that time, they look at the moon, boom, based on where the moon is located, they make that, then it becomes Ramadan. So it changes every year. So
Okay.
it's not, so if it's not okay every day June 15th, every year June 15th. It may
Okay.
be in June one month, it may be in August the next month, the next year, and so forth and so on. So it changes every year.
So how do you find out? Who tells you?
Well, I mean, it's it's a universal religion. First of
Okay.
all, it's an international religion. So all you have to do is basically you could go on your phone and put in when is
Oh.
Ramadan.
Okay. I got you. I got
You
you.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. That was a stupid question. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah.
No,
No,
but
no
it might be.
question is stupid. No question is stupid. I mean, if you don't know, it's best to ask. The only question is stupid is the one that's not asked because you don't know.
Yeah.
You stay in the dark.
But that show you how programmed we are for things because I know, like I just Googled today, when does March Madness start? That's the college basketball tournament.
Right,
Um, I Googled when is Mardi Gras this year. I Googled what is the NBA, when is the NFL NBA, when is the NBA draft picks or the NFL draft picks? You know what I mean?
right.
But sometimes right away when people talk about stuff that a lot of people don't know about, like Ramadan, people get confused. Just like me, I grew up a Jehovah Witness. So a lot of people hear that, it's like, man, I have heard in my lifetime, I have heard so many crazy things, man, about what they do or what they don't do. You know what I mean?
Right,
They don't believe in Jesus, or they drink blood, or you know uh 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 just crazy. I just have heard crazy things because you don't know. But like you
right.
said, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
Absolutely. Because then you start speculating.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So
Yeah,
so long as you ask the question, you get to know the answer.
yeah. But somebody is setting the date for Ramadan, though. That's the thing.
Well,
Somebody is set. If you could Google it and find when it's going to be this year, somebody is setting the date for it.
yeah. Well, yeah. I would say the scholars in Islam
Mm,
would be one of the scholars or a few of the scholars, you know,
yeah.
based on, as I said, where the moon is located, and it's the
Well,
annual thing.
that's powerful then, because the powers that be, I call them the powers that be when I talk about the United States. They the ones that set the dates for, you know, what date is Halloween, not Halloween, but what date is this on this year? What day is that on this year?
Or,
What day is
yeah,
that? But that's good to
right,
know that America don't set the dates for Ramadan, right?
right. They don't.
So
Right.
that's powerful then.
Yeah. America sets the date for when do the time go back? When do the time go forward? You know what I'm saying? Stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So
I think time going up this weekend.
yeah. It goes forward this weekend.
This weekend.
Yeah, I believe it's this. I believe it's Sunday. I believe it goes forward Sunday.
So the night's gonna be longer. So it's gonna
So
be
right,
Ramadan is gonna be
daylight saving.
so
So it
Ramadan
actually,
is gonna be harder.
well, I mean, not much harder because, like I said, it's not like it's August. You know what I'm saying? It's still
Yeah,
March.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
still spring is still coming.
Right, right, right. You was breaking up a little bit.
Let me
A
see.
little bit.
You hear
I
me
hear you
now?
now. I think. Yeah, yeah, I hear you good. I hear you good.
All right.
Very good.
All right.
Um, so other than that, what's going on? That was interesting. I didn't know much about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being that you mentioned, one of my questions was actually, are we as a society living up to what the religious books say? You know what I
You
mean?
lag,
Like,
you
huh?
lagging, shot. I don't know, something wrong with your sound.
You hear me now? Let me
Yeah, I hear
see.
you good.
Yeah, I was basically saying, what's for those of us who have a religious belief, are we living up to what that religious belief entails? That's the question. For me as a Muslim,
Um,
I'm required to fast. I'm required to pray 5 times a day. Those are requirements. Now, the main thing is, do we get caught up in the rituals and miss what the spirituality part of connecting with nature and connecting with our higher power? How many of us go through that where it's like treat people a certain way, where you treat people with respect, where like in the Bible says, love your neighbor like you love yourself.
right.
So
Yeah.
so the question is, do you think that people are actually living up to those standards?
Yeah, I guess you gotta ask a religious person that.
I mean, you know religious people, right? I mean, so
Well, if
most
you
of
ask
us
me, what I'm gonna say,
most of us know religious people who are in religions. We know them
right.
personally. So if a person that you be around, that's religious, if they are kind to one another, if they're even kind to you, you know,
Yeah.
if they, like for Muslims, it's required for us to be the best examples of human beings,
Mm,
the best examples. That's the requirement. So we should be able to, and I would imagine it's the same way with Christians, because as a Christian, you are a follower of Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ was said to be sinless. So
mm,
if you're following Jesus, then you're going to strive to live a certain way and treat people a certain way.
right. That's
You
true.
know, so that's
Um, if I don't know. I can't really say what too many people doing with that, but I will hope that everybody is doing their best. Who like people who go to church every day, um, people who living their life for God, represent God. I will hope, what I mean. I will hope that they live in their life the right way.
right. And the thing, and see what people don't know is about Islam is to submit to God, to submit
Hmm.
yourself to God, you know.
Yeah.
And Muslim is one who submits his will. We submit our will.
Right.
And that's the key component of trying to get out of your own way. You know,
Mm,
that's the key component. I believe to all religions. I believe all religions. The key component is to make you a better human being, to make you a better person. to
Right.
allow you to treat people in a better way.
Yes.
So I think
It,
that's the key component. I think if we all get that in religion, we would be the world would be a much better place.
it'd be a lot better. A lot better. Excuse me. If we did. It's certain religions that um I could relate to, you know, and then it's certain ones that I can't relate to. Uh even though I grew up a Jehovah Witness and I really got a dislike for that religion, I still say that they got valuable points and
Like, give
things
us
that
an example of something that you find that you like about it.
that how they go to the streets. I
Okay,
believe that if you want to bring people to something, you have to go to the streets. Um, the Muslims do it too. I even heard the Muslims adopted that from the Jehovah Witnesses because I think the Jehovah Witnesses was doing that in the 30s. But nevertheless, whoever started it, I believe that you have to go to the street. You got to knock on doors. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to talk to people. That's one thing that I always respected about them. That they wasn't afraid to go to the streets to spread the word. Because a lot of people is just Baptists and certain people they just like in house with it. You know what I mean? Jehovah Witnesses, they go to people's houses. The Muslims, they on the street corners. The Mormons, they walking in the hood. Um, who else? That's probably really all I. Oh, no, no, no. The Moors, they outside too. I think in New York, right? Like that's where they used to be at. We used to see them. Was that the Moors
yeah,
in New York? We
that
used to
was
see
Israelites. Used to be the
Israelites,
Israelites.
Israelites, Israelites, and even the 5%ers.
Right.
I put them in there. You know what I mean? They take it to the streets too. Um, yeah, that was the Israelites. That wasn't the Moors. So anybody like that, I kind of um take my hat off to them because they go into the street to spread the word. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and in the Bible it does say that you want to help the sick, not the
Hmm.
well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not the ones who are
Yeah.
well. So
Right.
basically, the ones that's in the street, those are the ones who mostly need the help.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to go to, you got to go where they at. The ghettos and the slums and and also the suburbs and and in places like that when they dwell in the clinches and stuff like that. You gotta go where people seeking um is looking to seek help. You know what I mean? And find out different things because sometimes when people at their lowest forms, that's the best time to catch them. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Not because they vulnerable, but because the state that they at, wherever they was doing to get them in the state they was in, it didn't work. So having faith in something, um, having something to make you feel strong, something to uplift you, um, anything like that in that nature, it's a good thing, because how many people about that success stories, like even like Malcolm X or different people. They came from the prisons and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or women who've been uh um loose in the street. and then gave it up to become, religious, or anybody of that kind. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Connected to a higher power, connected to
right,
something
right.
greater than yourself.
Hmm. Yep. So all that is good. All that is good. But
So, what's your thoughts about Elon Musk basically attacking the Social Security? What's your thoughts about that?
um I gotta do some reading up on that guy. I really don't know much about him other than he the richest. They say he the richest man in the world. Um, it has to be a reason why Trump put him in that place where he's at. I don't know why, but hopefully it ain't to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. It was something um damn until they until uh America, well, not America, people of our color, um until we learn and understand a lot of things that's going on, everything is going to be a setback. I mean, until we understand that it's check cashing places all over the hood, liquor stores all over the hood, um, and what liquor stores and check cashing, whatever stuff like that. Until we learn that and strengthen ourselves, people like what's his name, Elon Musk,
Yeah,
people like people like people like Elon Musk, they're gonna be a factor in what they doing, because maybe they plan is to keep the rich richer and the poor poor. Um, I don't know if one man can take down the whole Social Security. Um, the state of the Social Security, the SSI, the SSD. I don't know if one man can take it down, but he might give it a good shot. I don't even know. I mean, he might give it a good shot. I don't know what you think about him.
my thought is that when it comes to a businessman,
Hmm.
when people when people elect, a person in office, they elected them to be a public service
Right.
servant to serve the public.
Right.
However, the things that I know about business people is business people are not concerned with the public. They're concerned with the bottom line, and that's the profit. How can they make a profit?
Hmm.
More or less, they self-serving. They're not trying to serve the people. He's trying to serve himself. So whatever he's looking for something that he can benefit from more financially. Like if he don't have enough money. But
Hmm.
so my thing is, if he's looking at, you know, Social Security, he's looking at a way that he can capitalize off of it. And the best way to enslave people is to have them financially
Right.
needy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if basically, they were having conversations, they were basically saying that the contracts that Elon Musk is getting, he's going to be making somewhere like $1 million a day from the
Sheesh.
contracts,
Mm.
and with whoever is on Social Security, they're living off basically $65 a day. So, and I've heard him say out of his own mouth, it's a Ponzi scheme.
Right. Oh
So
yeah,
when I
yeah. I
hear
heard that. I heard that.
right, when I hear Ponzi scheme, I think about insurance companies.
Okay.
If there can be no bigger Ponzi scheme than insurance companies, and as well as I read somewhere that the Board of Education, the loans for education went
Right.
up 251%
Dang.
to get a loan to go to college. 251%. So imagine that when here you have a person, two people basically, they're attacking social, social constructs.
Yeah.
However, these things don't really affect us too much because we don't own them. They don't,
Right.
but 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 the overall things that can affect us, like insurance, like you know, paying for school, none of them are attacking that. They're not saying, okay, now if you go a year without getting into an accident, you get 20% of your money back, 30% of your money back. They're not
Who said?
saying
Who
anything
said? Who
about that.
said that? Who said that?
None of them are saying that. I'm saying that. That's
Oh.
that's that's the type of stuff that I would be on. You know what
Oh
I
yeah. I
mean?
was giving. I was giving. I was going to say that's a good deal.
Right, right. And at one point, you did used to get money back from your insurance if you didn't have an accident.
Yeah,
You
I
used to.
remember that.
So now, for him to talk about, okay, people are living long, and the money's running out, then you could take that money from the insurance because how many people go years and years and don't ever use their insurance? What happened to that money?
Plenty.
You know, and
Plenty.
how many people pay into unemployment and never get laid off?
Plenty.
So when you hear a person talking like that and people attacking it, okay, my thing is if there's a problem, let's come up with a solution.
Right.
Don't just point the problem out. What's the solution to the problem?
True.
You got
True.
so there's other places that both he and Donald Trump can go to get money to put in Social Security if it's a problem with the money sinking. There's other places they could go. So I just think it's just a ploy to distract the people, get the people riled up by saying we're going to go after this, so they know that that's going to have people talking. People going to be interested, and they're going to be concerned about their Social Security being taken. Meanwhile, they're pulling the fast one on something else. It's another agenda that they're pushing. That's what I think he's doing. I think that's just a smoke screen. I don't think he's really even intends to go after that.
Oh, it's just okay. I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
yeah, yeah,
That might be facts. That might be facts.
yeah.
Um, I mean, politics is deep. You know what I mean? I really never got into it too much. I know a little bit about it, and that's my fault because I really believe we all should know a lot about it. You know what I mean? But I don't. Even at my age, I really don't. But
And what do you think is a distraction? What do you think distract people from politics? So just name a couple things that you think that can distract people from politics. They could be more interested in one thing and miss being interested in politics. And name a thing off the top of your head. What do you think?
religion.
Okay.
Uh, I grew up. I told you I grew up a Jehovah Witness. They don't vote.
Right.
So
My
for the
sister.
first,
Right. So that's one. Okay. Yeah.
so the first years of my life up until teenager, probably, I never. They didn't. My mother and them didn't talk that in the house because, well, my father wasn't a Jehovah Witness, but my mother was. But Jehovah Witnesses don't vote.
Right.
Second is if it's not even religion, I think and I think it got to be something in the household that people talking about. That wasn't nothing. It was talked about in my household. What was the next president gonna do? What was this person gonna do? And then you got the things, the things this. I mean, we got to say, call it
Spade a
is what
spade.
it is.
Yeah.
Where we from? I mean, we the same age. We did the same things in the same places. I don't never really remember us being on the block talking about let's go vote or what the president gonna do or we gotta do this and do that for economics or for, economics or financials, security, or like stuff that people talk about, like the president. I'm talking about when you say, "Well, I'm gonna vote for him because he's for inflation," or "I'm gonna vote for him because he's for the senior citizens," or "he for hospitals," or "he for to build more jails," or "build more recreation centers," or stuff like that. I don't really remember us talking about that too much growing up. I don't know why we didn't, but we didn't.
Well, I mean, because we didn't feel it affect us. We didn't see the interest in it until it started affecting us. You know what I mean? Once it started, like during Reagan, the Reaganomics affected all of us. Because here Reagan was sneaking drugs in. You know what I mean? The Contra scandal. They put in and they made him like the poster child of the best president. Now, and his wife was saying the war on drugs.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
got one going one way, one going the other way, and we got caught up in that. Many of us got caught up in it because, okay, you flood the streets with cocaine, and then the base and crack comes out, but then now you come with high sentences for individuals who are dealing it.
Yeah.
So it
They
affected us. So we
they
got caught up in it,
they
and
started the three strikes.
right,
What is it? 5 years mandatory. You get caught with a gun. What was her slogan?
kingpin charges, the kingpin charges.
Kingpin charge. What
Just
was
say
what was
no. Just say no.
just say
Yeah, just say no.
yeah, just
Yeah,
say no to drugs. That was her
yeah, yeah,
her
yeah. That was
slogan.
the war on
Just
drugs,
say no.
and many people got jammed up behind that,
Yeah.
and for you know so-called Black African Americans, we've been taught to vote because our ancestors couldn't vote. You know what I mean? That's what we've been, many times that's what a person will say, oh, you need to vote because, you know, as you said, not for a particular reason or to make a particular change. You're
Right.
just voting because you you need to vote, which is voting blindly.
Right.
You don't know nothing about the candidate except what they say and to you. You didn't do no research about what they stand for or not. So once and then
Ha-
you'll
ha-
hear a lot of people say, if you didn't vote, you deserve what you get. But if you did vote, you deserve what you get too.
did you ever vote?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I voted before. I voted for Obama. I voted
Yeah,
before. I haven't
me
voted in.
too.
I haven't voted in a while. But
Yeah, I voted too.
that helped me to realize that something was wrong. Because once Obama got in, what
hmm
really changed for us?
Now I
You
heard this
know,
guy talking bad about Obama today. He was talking bad. He was calling him a piece of and everything.
yeah, yeah. I mean, much didn't change. It did, he did do stuff for the LGBT people.
That's what the guy said today. that that was like, oh, that's all he did. That's what
That
the
that
guy
was that,
said.
and he was responsible for killing Muammar Gaddafi and
Bin
what's
Laden.
his and Bin Laden. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
those are the three things that he will be known
he,
for.
he known for. Yeah.
But
Um, Politics is just it ain't my thing. Maybe one day it will be. I have learned so much about this government that's not right, man. That it's scary. Whatever they want you to believe, they just program it in your head. They just put it in the news. Whatever they want to program in society, they just they just put it out there for us, and we just got to
eat it,
take it and run with it.
we eat it up, and that's both black and white people. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
that's
so
everybody.
right, yeah, and the biggest trick bag that they got us is black and white. That's the biggest trick bag. I think that's how they continue to be able to work the way that they work because they have white people believing that black people are the enemy and they have black people believing that white people are the enemy. When we all want the same things, we want a better life for our families.
Look how Trump did the Latinos,
The
Hispanic race.
Mexicans,
He,
right?
all of them. He got all of them to vote for him. Then he turned, and they knew what he was preaching, and he still turned around now and deporting people like, and they the same people that voted for him. So
Well, I mean, and see, technically, if they're not, if they are the ones who voted for him, then he really, shouldn't be in office because technically you should be a citizen to be able to vote for him. You shouldn't, if
yeah,
you're not a citizen, you shouldn't have been able to vote anyway. So
yeah.
if they got that off, then he's in there, by divine powers or fraudulent means, either one.
won't be
Which one you want to take?
won't be the first time.
So that's pretty much it. But I think what it needs is for us to unify because America's is only as strong as their army and their police
Hmm.
force.
Yep.
So if the army and the police force and the bank system change the way they operate and start being more equal with everybody, then things changes.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that a long time.
Right. Well,
Our
first
own
thing,
banks.
yeah. Well, like you said, the first thing that we as a people need to do is become more financially literate. We're
Yeah,
illiterate when it comes to finances. So that's what we need, financial literacy, where we really learn how money works and how to utilize our money to help our community and make our family stronger and put something away for the next generation.
and
That's
that's what I
that's
was saying.
yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. That's why in the inner city, you got so many check cashing places and so many liquor stores because they know if you could get your check and go to the check cashing place, then you don't have to have a bank account. They don't want you to have a bank account because if you got a bank account, then you can save money. Then you might learn the tricks that other people use with the banks, like as far as getting loans and CDs and TRAs and all that other stuff. So they
Well,
don't want you getting banks and learning how to save money, because then you might learn other things. So they want you to get your check, go to the check cashing place and go from the check cashing place to the liquor stores and wherever and just have cash Because most of the times people not gonna save money. You know what I mean? That's what I
No,
think
not if they
anyway.
walking around with cash in their hands. And but see
Exactly.
the other, you named two things. The third most prevalent thing in the so-called hood used to be the ghettos are churches.
Churches.
So if that's the case, back in the day, churches was the backbone. That's where you learn. That's where you unified at. You know,
Hmm.
that's no longer the case because the churches have become a business as well, and they're fleecing the people.
Yep.
So so we getting it from all angles.
Somebody said if money is the root to all evil, then why church is always asking for your money?
It's evil for you to have it. It's better for them to take it.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I'm
part of
saying.
that's part of the psychology that they're using on you.
Yeah, I had came on here today, and I came on here. I had a lot of different mixed feelings about a lot of different mixed things, and I didn't really know what we was gonna talk about. Um, but I'm glad we talked about what we talked about. You know, because it's a lot of people out here like me that don't know about Ramadan. It's a lot of people out here that don't save money. You'll be surprised how many people live check to check. I'm not talking about young people. It's people 50 and 60 and 70 years old who still living paycheck to paycheck, whether it's week to week or month to month. You know what I mean? I always swore I didn't want to be one of them people. I didn't want to be 60 and 50 and 60 and 70 and you know waiting for a check. Like, oh man, that was like blasphemy to me. Like, I did not want to do that. And and now I'm fighting to keep from being there. Because I think that's the way
Peace,
the
Kev.
world. I think
Go
that's the
ahead.
way the world is constructed. Maybe you know what I mean, to get us to live check to check.
I mean, you remember, as you said earlier, programming. A part of that is programming. When you have a bunch of uh, commercials and things that influencing you to spend money,
Mm-hmm.
so you're spending more money and you're not learning about assets versus liabilities.
Right.
So and that's another reason why Ramadan is good, because even spending money, that can help you restrain from spending money. And then we spend a lot of money on things we need, you know trying to please people we don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. That's
and
true.
and and and, and that's the biggest thing that eats us up, because you spending money that you don't, for something you don't need, for people you don't know. And what's the purpose at the end of the day? Now, and if we could get past that, we get past that type of thing where we start spending money for a purpose to see something. When you spend money, it should be something that if you were to sell that thing or get rid of it, you can at least get what you spent for it or more.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know, so
Yeah.
so so there's so many things that we spend money that no money's coming back.
Yep.
It's just money thrown away. You might as well take your money and just burn it. And that's something that's happening to us. And until we get better with saving and investing money, we're going to always be check to check,
Yep.
or working just to survive.
I
You know,
hate that. I hate that check to check thing.
yeah. So my thing always been I didn't want to be a person working 60, 70 years old, working, have to go to work. That's always been my thing like that. You know what I'm
A-
saying?
Amen to that.
You forced by not knowing, really. You don't know when you're younger that, okay, all the partying and wasting money is not going to benefit you in your later years. And if you were able to be, more studious with your money, then when you got older, you could do some of the things you didn't do when you were younger. But most of us, we want to do everything when we're young. Then when we get old, now we got it. Now we stuck. We got it. We got to work until we 60, 70.
Mm.
Some people almost 80 years old still having to work.
Yeah, I be seeing people out there, old people, and I be saying, man, like, I just don't want that to be me.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you're 70 and 80 and you're working because it gives you something to do, then that's fine.
That's
You know
different.
what I mean? That's fine. You because you want to work because you want to stay busy, then that's fine. But
That's
not
different.
because, right, not because you're stuck because of bad money decision.
Yep, man. Yep, yep, yep.
You know, and that's a key component that we need to work on, teach the younger people so that, this whole cycle of running the mill, working and dying, start changing. You know, that's it. You go to school. You go to school, you work, you die.
Yep.
I mean, so when did you really live? You
You
know,
know, when people break, some people break down the hours that you alive, because you got to think. You sleep, you work, you home. Like, how many hours do you really have? You know what I mean? To yourself,
yeah,
to
yeah,
enjoy yourself.
yeah. You got well, and that's the thing. Sometimes many of us, because of that, spend a lot of hours recreation, enjoying ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We spend way too many hours trying to enjoy ourselves and
Yep,
not uplift ourselves.
that's true. That's
So
true.
so it's a balance. It's about finding a balance with everything. Too much of anything is no good for you, no matter what it is.
That's a fact.
So that's just food for thought for anybody who watching. If you don't know, now you know. But that's one of the things that we necessarily need to work on as a society. And the thing that I see as a society, that people have become individualism, a lot of individualism, where you could get you could get something done when it's just you, but you can get a whole lot more done with other people.
That's
And there's nobody, I don't care, Elon Musk, Tyler Perry, no matter, Oprah Winfrey, whoever it is, they didn't get to where they at by themselves. They had some help.
Yep,
And that's the thing that we miss, that helping each other, we could get further. We
yep.
we we start learning to help each other, work together, and you know a whole lot more uh, uh, times where we struggling, we would struggle a whole lot less. You
I
know,
believe that.
we definitely would struggle a whole lot less once we could do what we're doing, start collaborating. Once you start team collaboration and you start putting your minds together to make something better that can not just benefit you but can benefit you and someone else, and then it don't only benefit you and someone else, then it benefit other people.
And start at home too.
Absolutely. Well, the majority of it starts at home. What it what
Family structure. We need more family structure. We need more education on different things than uh I say jucking and jiving or whatever they say. No, I mean we need to concentrate more. That's basically where I'm at in my life right now. I'm at the point where, at the age I'm at, is that um I'm trying to mold a strong foundation around me. You know what I mean? It's almost at the time where we you don't um you remember that movie A Soldier Story?
yeah.
And the old man, he was beefing with Denzel, but it was another dude that was playing the guitar, and he was saying,
Country dude. He said
yeah,
country.
he said
Yeah,
we can't afford people like you no more. Like, that's like how I feel in my mind. It's like certain things, like it's like I can't afford no more. You know what I mean? Like, too many setbacks. It's time to elevate and build and add on, instead of taking away, or taking one step forward and two step backwards. And you your own best knower, so
yeah,
that's what we
absolutely.
got. That's what we got to look at it. We got to be kings. We got to be original. Um, we got to say what we mean. We got to mean what we say, and you got to want better, not only for yourself but for your family. And you got to want to leave. A big thing with me is leaving a legacy. That's a big thing with me. I want to leave a legacy. So maybe, like, I don't know about my kids, but maybe the grandkids, they don't have to go through the same things I went through. You know, because believe it or not, we've been through a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I'm not saying we've been slaves or we've been, worked in fields and tied up and hung and all that. But we've been through organized slavery. You know what I mean? We might have not have been through
Yeah,
the physical slavery, but we've been we've been through organized slavery. So we've been through a lot, man. And I figure every day that you above ground is a good day. So that's for the people who listening. You know what I mean? Like, every day is a good day. If you woke up this morning, then you still got a chance to make a wrong or right. You still got a chance to forget about yesterday and make today or tomorrow better. You still that's how I live my life now. I live my life when I wake up in the morning. I'm trying to do something productive. You know, if it's not doing it physically, I'm trying to think of it mentally. So I could just be productive. You know what I mean, and keep your eye on the prize. Stay focused, and that's what I think about this show. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you just gotta stay focused, keep your eye on the prize. Forget about the naysayers and the negative point of views. And even though all publicity is good publicity, but it's better to help each other than hurt each other. You know what I mean?
absolutely, absolutely. Got about
It's
6 more minutes left. And I agree with you about leaving a legacy, you know.
Hmm.
And the other thing, a part about, leaving a legacy is leaving them knowledgeable, giving them the knowledge to keep
Right.
the legacy going and keep passing it down.
Right.
I've seen in our generation where many people were leaving, legacies. They were trying to, but
Yeah.
when they left it, the generation wasn't prepared for it, and they squandered it. They got
Right.
they lost it. So it's leaving something, but preparing those who you're leaving it to be able to take it and add on to it.
Mm.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
yeah. That's positive. That's
Yeah,
positive.
yeah,
Um, because all 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 knowledge is I'm not gonna say is the best knowledge, but all knowledge is good knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And it's a fact that to listen and observe, that's a fact. Like that's really how you gain knowledge. You know what I mean? Um, Sometimes I be trying to say things without saying things. I be trying to say that me and you could get up here and just have conversation like we just did for this last hour.
right.
And if people really take their time and sit out and dissect it and see all the positive points, you know what I mean, all the all the educational points, all the good point of views that was made, then you might like it better. You know what I mean, than just sitting around and saying that, oh, um I'm waiting for it to get amped. You know what I mean? Or when is it gonna get amped up? Or you know what I'm saying? Or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Well,
uh
the part of, okay, instead of looking to be entertained, looking to
right.
get look for to stimulate your brain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, because that's ultimately going to be more beneficial if your brain gets stimulated rather than you being entertained. You can get entertained anywhere, anytime, any place.
And let me tell you a good point of view because I don't like talking about people religions, but one of my sons is he's a advocate religious person. So he's every Sunday he's always posting people dancing when they when everybody be stomping and dancing, they be doing that
When they
stomping.
shouting in
I
the
mean they be
church,
stomping. Yeah, like
in the
stomping
church, yeah,
and
yeah,
running
that's when they
around.
shouting. They shouting. They praising. They praising the
Yeah,
Lord. They
praise
call
him. So
praising the Lord. Right.
and I be watching the videos, man, and they ladies and young kids and old grandmothers and grandfathers and people with canes and then some people run around and some people fall out and and I mean they be getting down.
Yeah. I've seen
I'm
it.
telling,
I've
but
seen
to
it.
me, but to other people, it's like, oh, they praising God. They praising God. Yo, they praising God. But
Right.
see, to me, I look at it and I be like, that's the stupidest thing I ever seen in my life. You know what I mean? That's what I say. I'll be like,
Right.
that's the stupidest thing I ever seen in my life. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's something going on there. Maybe I need to stop and listen. What made them do that,
Right.
or what happened to make them do that. I'm just making points. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you gotta take time out and find out. Maybe I need to take time out and find out what make people shout. Maybe I need to go and listen and and sit in and and see what make people fall out or make people run around the church or stomping and yelling. And maybe I need to find out what make people do that, because just from me on the outside looking in, I look at it, I be like, that's the stupidest, craziest damn thing I ever seen in my life. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't see
But
the I don't
the
I
benefit
just
of it.
don't
But
get it.
that's a great point, though. That's a
Yeah,
great point, and we about to close out.
yeah,
As you said, if we as humans start looking at things that we find awkward or distasteful, and we look at it in a manner of, hold up, let me re-examine that to see, can I
right,
get something out of it that can
right,
maybe benefit me? You know what I
right.
mean? So I get that.
So I'm making points without pointing.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
I'm making points without pointing. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So that's how people got to look at, that's how you got to
yeah,
look at stuff. But anyway, before we leave, this hoodie right here I got on was
yeah.
made by sweet people. What do you call? I think you call this thing Sweet Goldstein or whatever. But sweet
Sweet
people,
Goldstein. Okay.
something like that. That's on his business card. But I can't. I don't even know what it
Did
say.
he
Something
did he
about
give you the
rap.
hat to go with it, or you hooked the hat up
No,
yourself?
no, no. No,
Oh,
no.
that's your
He
hat.
he was trying to. I told him to get me a Los Angeles Dodgers hat, but
Right.
he didn't have it. So I'm this. You know what this is? This Puerto Rico.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
PR.
representing the I'm representing
PR.
the Puerto Ricans
Okay.
tonight.
All right.
It
All
was
right.
hard trying to match it up. But
The
yeah, and for
Boricuas.
everybody, yeah, Boricuas. So for everybody listening, they know, and Shadi do 1 hour, but now we're gonna, if you on YouTube, you could come over to I'm going to my Facebook Live, and then I'm on TikTok at J Sean 763, and of course I'm on Facebook Live at Randy J Sean Jackson. After I take a quick break, anything you want to say before we part?
Those who watching, we appreciate you for your time. You can subscribe if you're on YouTube, if you already have it, and if you're on Facebook and you already don't follow me, follow me. Until next week, leave you all with peace.
All right, peace, peace, peace. Ramadan, go eat
Ramadan.
something. I'll be eating all night. Well, as long as you talk, I'll be eating, man. I know myself, man.
Yeah,
Peace.
don't want to go overboard because then you're gonna gain too much weight because you got to go to sleep.
Oh! Before you hang up, today made 1 week. I've been doing my Z.
Okay, how you
The
like it?
the YouTube. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, that's what's up.
I, I love. What's how you pronounce her name?
My Z,
My
my Z,
Z. My Z. I don't like to promote people who don't pay me, but
my
Shadi put
Z.
me on this workout thing on YouTube. MIZI, is it?
Yeah, my Z.
Mozzie. MIZI, the lady. She got workouts for everything. And today I finished my first week. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't think I lost no weight, because you got to
Well,
eat
I
right.
mean, you building your endurance up now. You're getting used
Oh
to it.
yeah, but I'm
That's
building my
all.
endurance. I feel really good, really
Okay.
good, really good. You know what I
There
mean?
you
As
go,
soon as
brother.
I wake up, in the morning, I drink water, and then I do my workout with my Z YouTube. I started off with 15 minutes, so next week
That's
I'll
what you
try to move up
try to
to
move up
30.
to about 20. Okay.
20. Oh, if she, I didn't know she had 20, but I move up to
20, 20,
26.
20 something. Yeah, just look for them and,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
move up to 20, but the 15 was cool.
All
So
right.
MIZI for y'all out there. All right.
Yeah, 20, maybe even a half hour. Give it a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Peace,
I gotta
everybody.
lose this 10 pounds. We'll be right back in a minute. I'm getting ready to cut out. I'll be on my Facebook Live and TikTok.